Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Thanks as always for tuning in. We're going to do a little Facebook Live session where we get to ask Erik and ask an agent, where you can bounce off any questions or ideas that are all things real estate. So please, even though the topic today is going to be what do you want to be when you grow up, I would love to be able to chat about any of the questions or ideas that you have as well in buying, selling, or investing. So with that, I'm just going to start off. It's funny to think about the things that we wanted to do when we grew up. My parents still have, I think, all of my baby books as a kid. And so they talk a little bit about, hey Kyle, thanks for jumping in. They talk a little bit about all the things I wanted to do as I grew up when I was a kid. So I wanted to be, I think it was an astronaut at one point and an artist. I think in fourth grade I was told that lawyers make a lot of money, so I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a professional baseball player, and then you grow up and all of a sudden you are not necessarily those things. You are something else that is either a bit more practical, or your dreams change as you get older. And so at one point, myself and a couple of friends that I graduated college with decided that we wanted to get into real estate investing, and that leads me to where I am today, which is now a Beverly Hills luxury real estate agent. So how did that happen, and how does someone pursue this dream of getting into real estate? We've all seen the television shows from $1 Million Listing to Selling LA, and it's a really exotic or sexy business, but how do you actually get into it as you get started? So I wanted to share a few top tips, just quick ideas of things to think about as you're getting into real estate. What's interesting is that the average realtor around the country is 56 years old, and it is a second, if not a third or fourth career. So if someone wants to get in early, what are the things that you need to think about? For starters, it doesn't take much to become a licensed realtor. It's actually relatively easy. You need to have a heartbeat, be over 18 years old, and pass an exam and take several hours, and by several, 90 hours worth of classes. And then you are an agent. And most people will say, well, now what? So there are many different pieces that revolve around being a successful real estate agent beyond being just an agent. Hey, Ali, nice to jump in. Several things that I want to start off with beyond just the logistical pieces, and there are 3 or 4 main tips. The first one is obviously logistics. You need to pass kind of the basics of getting your game plan in, but I would say even before jumping in, you want to think about the first, biggest, largest piece, which is prospecting. How are you going to get business? A lot of people will think that they can depend on family members and friends to get started, and that may be a great avenue to be able to get business. But prospecting is going to be first and foremost the most important thing that you're going to want to think of. So there are 40, 50, hundreds of different ways that you could get business, and you want to have a bevy of different ways that you can market. One might be sphere of influence. Hey Jeremy, thanks for jumping in. One might be sphere of influence. It could be door knocking, where you knock on doors of homes in a given neighborhood and become somewhat ingratiated to that neighborhood as the preferred real estate agent of choice. You might hold open houses. You might do social media or internet-based marketing. You might connect with other referral partners. I have got several different plans that I could share if you're ever interested. And the biggest reason that I wanted to hold this topic was because of all of the people that now connect with me on social media after having seen some posts that I do. Seeing the posts that I do, seeing different ways that I'm able to connect with my target audience, they're interested in finding out what are some of the tips and tricks that they could use. And so I wanted to be able to share those since so many people had asked. And I've got kind of a bonus tip at the end of this Facebook Live to share with you. If you're interested in getting into the biz, a great tool that I think could be super helpful for you. So stay tuned until the very end. You have to think of this a lot like self-employment. So you are a small business. You are basically creating your own paycheck. We don't make an income. We don't get paid to do this job. We have to go and work with buyers and sellers, and when they buy or sell a home, that's how we get compensated. And so there's kind of a rule of thumb that you will work for several months typically before you will receive your first paycheck. Even if you were to meet a potential buyer or seller tomorrow, they still have to either sell their home or find a home. So you develop through your prospecting efforts, you develop a pipeline of business. And again, I can talk about that further anytime that you'd like to be able to jump in and kind of discuss it. So that's piece number 1, is prospecting. Piece number 2 is prospecting, and we're actually going to roll out because I seem to be having some bad connection issues, so we're going to leave the office and step outside a second. Time blocking is going to be your next kind of top tip punch. We don't have someone that sets our hours in real estate, and so the time blocking that you do is basically setting your own schedule, your own calendar of the things that are most important. We talked about prospecting. That should be done every day. So beyond the prospecting piece, I keep having a bad connection today. Beyond the prospecting piece, like I said, time blocking. So putting in prospecting, putting in when you're going to have your appointments, when you're going to not only work in your business, meeting people, but when you're going to work on your business, creating different brochures, packets, your marketing information, if you're going to hire an assistant at any point. The way that you block out your time is paramount. And so if at any point you would want to see my schedule of how I time block, just add a comment or click below and we can touch base a little bit further on what a great time blocking schedule looks like to be able to make sure that you're not working a 100-hour week and you're not working a 10-hour week. It's very easy to be caught up in just sending emails or just making phone calls, and that's not always necessarily productive. So you want to make sure that you have the best possible time block that you can create. And then the last thing that I would throw out as a tip, so we've got prospecting, we've got time blocking. The next and last one that I would say is most important among many other items is going to be how you create your income schedule. So again, we don't in real estate make a paycheck. So you work with buyers and sellers. When they sell or buy a home, that's how you get paid. And so what type of client do you want to work with? Luxury clients, first-time home buyers, people just buying condominiums or waterfront properties. All of these are different niches with which you can work with. And you can look at creating a business plan around that. Typical, I'll tell you your income and be able to tell you how much you can spend on either marketing or administrative or overall business growth. So hopefully these tips were a little bit helpful to all of you budding real estate agents out there. And again, like I said, if you've got any comments or questions or ideas to bounce off of, touch base anytime. I had mentioned giving a little tip at the very end of this for you budding real estate agents. If you wanted to find out kind of a better blueprint, I would love to be able to share with you a copy of a book that I published called 1 in a Million. And it is filled with some of the best tips and ideas in not only being a great agent, but how to become one. So if you'd like a copy, please touch base below. I can see if I can get my assistant to send one out to you. As always, everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you ever have a question in all things real estate, know someone who wants to buy or sell a home, please touch base anytime. I would love to be a resource. Thanks again. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you next week. Typically, next Tuesday, I will be tuning in and doing another sneak peek luxury home tour here in Beverly Hills. So talk to you soon. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.